Okay, Jackie, here we are. We were having a conversation. I mean, should we just continue with it? We were talking about beet
Sure.
powder. No, I don't want to talk about beet powder.
I
You
can
and
talk
I,
about beet powder.
we're talking about beet powder, guys. That's not the topic for today, but beet
No.
powder, just so you know, if anyone suffers from anemia, beet powder or beta vulgaris, as it's formerly known, is excellent for anemia and for a bunch of other things as well. But so what? Today is Monday. It is the 18th of September. It's pouring here. Is it still pouring by you?
Same.
Well,
It's just
rainy
rain.
Mondays, right?
Yep.
Going to be like that all day. Does that make you sad, Jackie? A rainy Monday?
No, actually, I feel a little less pressure.
Right. You don't have to go out. You don't. There are no demands upon you now, right?
Exactly. I'm like, oh, anything that required me leaving my house can just wait till tomorrow. So now I just have to.
I wish it was raining yesterday while football was on.
Oh, I was at baseball yesterday.
Naturally. Your child is a budding Yankee. Of course, you're right.
Never know. You
So,
never know.
so listen, you picked a topic, and let's just air out some dirty laundry here because I'm pretty sure you picked this topic because last week was my birthday.
No, actually, but it does make sense. I don't mind putting this on you.
Yeah, it was. I'm just saying. I don't think it was an accident. Uh, I think it was completely intentional on your part. Because today we're going to talk about the challenge of losing weight as you get older. So, who's
Mhm.
getting older here? Obviously, both of us and everyone who's listening, right?
Yep.
We're all getting older, and it just becomes more and more surreal.
Yeah.
Jackie, you have not had this experience yet, but you're going to have the experience of nieces and nephews who are graduating college, have serious jobs, getting married, having children. It just every year gets more and more surreal.
Yeah.
That is certainly the case for me
It's
as well.
bittersweet.
It's bittersweet. It's just, but more than that, it's weird. You want it, but listen, in a few years, one of your kids is going to have a baby.
A few years? No.
You're going to be a grandmother.
No, not yet. No.
You
No,
could
no, no, no.
consider being a grandmother within 10 years.
10? No, I think about more time than that.
You hope.
We've got
But
more time.
you could conceivably be a grandmother in 10 years.
No, thank you.
So it's just very weird, and it's the challenge of time that everyone is faced with. This is the one thing that nobody beats.
Nope.
Nobody's ever beaten Father Time. He is like 18 gazillion to zero. So we do have to talk about
Yeah.
that today.
Yeah.
All right. What were your thoughts when you chose this topic? What were you thinking besides sticking it to me because I had a birthday?
No, I'm not sticking it to you. It's also me because I feel like I jumped on program. So I'm on day 14 myself. So I hit the 2 week mark.
How much are you down?
And what?
How much are you down?
15 pounds.
How much?
13.
So you're killing it.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Really,
In spite of your age.
in spite of my age.
Yeah.
But I think it was all like for me that like I'm turning 40 in April. I don't mind saying it. But turning 40 in April, and everyone's like, "Oh, I can't wait to turn 40 and do this and that." Whereas
Wait, who
I
says that?
no, I have a they just look forward to the celebration of it.
Oh, okay, yeah, for a day.
And of course, and I'm by all means I do too. But I think for me, the past year especially, and just struggling to maintain my weight, or I was gaining weight even no matter what I would do, no matter what I did, and I'm definitely part of that 80-20 rule. And nothing would happen, nothing would budge, and it just would slow down. And I started to feel it inside, where I'm like, okay, I'm achy, I'm sore, I'm feeling out of breath, or I'm doing simple things, and I'm like, I don't understand. Like, what is it that I'm doing wrong? And I'm like, you know what? I have to jump back on program because I know that it's worked for me before. And the truth is, I only started to gain my weight back the past year. And I can't, yes, some of them bad habits and eating out because we're running from activity to activity. I could probably chalk up 5 pounds to that, maybe. But everything else, I'm like, I don't understand why this is happening.
Right.
And it literally was like that whole connection. And I said to myself, turning 40, And, of course, you hear these situations of people who are not as healthy and things are, happen and come up. But I'm like, I want to do everything I can in my control to go into that next 10-year sprint from 40 to 50, knowing that behind me, I've learned from it. I am going into it healthier, feeling happier, positive. I want to go into it with something to show
So
for it.
this 40 number is hitting you hard.
Yeah.
You are getting smacked in the face with this.
Yeah.
And that happens with milestones sometimes. Not
Sometimes
all
this to
the time,
me,
but that definitely happens. 40 for you is big. 40 is the difference between you still being a kid
a
and being an
thousand,
adult.
1,000%. I think this is actually me being an adult all of a sudden, even though I have 2 children, a husband, that we're together 17 years. I think it's like a
Because in your mind, that's, when you think of 40-year-olds, you think of adults. When
yeah,
you were a kid and, your parents, they were like 40. Oh my God.
I know. And and I just think that and I do have friends of mine that are all same thing. So, I have to lose weight and they're doing other things, other alternatives that are working for them. But I said, I don't want to just fix surfacely what's happening. I don't want to get on the scale and be 10 pounds lighter, but feel the same on the inside.
Right.
So I think I took a long hard thought. I'm like, no, this was a different aha moment for me. It was like, this is my opportunity. So I have a couple of months, however many months I have to really buckle down, and I have small goals that I want to be able to check those boxes by the time I turn 40.
Before you hit that wall that is
Yeah,
40.
and well, that's the thing, and by all means, this is none of this is meant negatively at all. Like I'm looking forward to it because it's also I'm doing it as we speak. I'm definitely checking those boxes. I'm feeling good. I'm making those solid attempts. I want it full circle. I want that healthy checklist.
Right. Well, we do have to talk about the challenges, though, because I mean, you in a way, just by saying this, and this is all by way of introduction, but you've kind of
Mhm.
jumped to a solution, right?
Mhm.
So let's talk about some of the challenges. So you mentioned that suddenly things seemed harder with you.
So hard.
It's hard to lose weight, and you're more prone to things like soreness
Yeah,
uh, and everything like that. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. Uh,
absolutely.
things definitely change. So the first thing that most people are aware of when they age is that their metabolisms tend to slow down. The reason for that is because we tend to lose muscle. We don't have as much muscle when we're older, and muscle is metabolically active, meaning muscle burns fat. Fat does not burn fat. Muscle burns fat as fuel. And
Mm.
obviously, when you age, there's less muscle, which we can feel very easily, and we can see it. So that's the first thing. Now, there's also the aspect, and this is more pronounced for females, and which is hormonal changes.
Yes.
Now,
Perimenopausal.
yeah, so these are conversations that, like, do you have these conversations with your friends? Is it just accepted? How does that work?
We, it's funny. Different groups of friends, different conversations. I have 2 groups of friends where one actually, we were at swim practice 7 a.m. bright and early yesterday, and we're like, it's a 2-hour practice. Let's go. We drove down to Belmar and we walked the boardwalk for a little over an hour. And me and my girlfriend were talking about it the whole time. She goes, it has gotten so hard. She goes, no matter what I do, I just always have this. It feels like a very, very low spare tire.
Hmm.
And she's like, right around here. She goes, but I'm telling you, it didn't happen until I turned 40.
Mm.
And she's like, I'm working out. I'm doing a diet. I'm trying this. I do detox. I cut back on like drinking. And we're having these conversations. And I'm like, but it's not just me. And she's perimenopausal at the moment, as far as she knows. And she feels it. She goes, I feel lethargic. I'm tired. I am just tired from nothing. And then I'm tired from just being. And it does resonate with me because it happens out of nowhere. Like I was feeling exhausted, like exhausted.
Yeah, so it's so funny. When I was thinking about what we're going to talk about, I was writing notes, and exhaustion was one of the things that I wrote. And exhaustion is a whole subject in and of itself, right?
Which
That
we
we have
really
to
should
discuss.
talk about
Well, we should. So you schedule
next
it.
week. I'll put it on next week
Um,
because
yeah,
yeah,
it is a subject in and of itself. And the thing is that The majority of visits to doctors are for exhaustion. And there's so many things that can cause exhaustion. And it's everything from sleep to hormones to emotional things to there is so much that can cause it. And this is one of the big challenges facing people when they get older. You've got all these different pressures and stress. You've got the hormonal changes that are going on. A lot of people just don't sleep very well at all. It seems like the world is conspiring against us to
Yes.
become exhausted.
Yeah.
Right? Do you feel like that?
Not now, but I was definitely on the cusp of like, I need to, I want to say it was about end of July, first week of August, give or take, where I was like, okay, I know summer's here. It's very hard. We had a very insane first half of the summer. August for us is like a going out and, just making plans and whatnot, going away. And I said, I'm definitely going to jump on program at this point because I was feeling it myself that it would come to like, I was doing the dishes, totally, I'm standing there doing the dishes and it's 8:30 at night. And out of nowhere, it was like a ton of bricks on my shoulders, itchy, burning eyes. And I just felt like no energy, but it also caused me to like not want to do anything else when I went upstairs. Like I didn't want to come up and fold the laundry I was like, no, I'm going to go in the shower, go to bed. And then I get in bed and then I couldn't sleep. Like I almost get like a second wind. And I'm like, this cycle that I'm in, part of it I can control. It's my eating habits, our activities, we're back and forth. And the other half of it was like, I'm okay, whatever's going on with me, I have to regulate. So sure enough, I upped my, I see the chiropractor twice a week, which is a tremendous help with everything. And really just being in tune with my body. Like I was not tied for something. Of course, I'm tied from the world, the life that we're living, the running, the being a baseball mom, swim mom, a wife, full-time employee, just like working around doing the everyday activities and being social, trying to stay hydrated. It's like that joking meme that they say where it's like, oh, try to do everything. It's this crazy woman running with like a million different bags. And you really do feel that. And when I stopped and I said to myself, I can still accomplish all of these things if I just take a step back and take a deep breath and take back control of it. And that's exactly what I did. I set a date. I worked towards that date and I said, I'm doing this in the meantime to prep before because I want this done when the kids go back to school.
Right.
I am very structured and organized already. But what I did was instead of doing it as a whole, I broke it down into smaller categories. Something
Yeah. Well, we've talked about that, and we haven't talked about that in the context of exhaustion per se, but we've talked about that in the context of overwhelm.
Yes.
When there's too much going on, which can certainly cause exhaustion, right? When there's too much coming at you at one time, and you realize, okay, so to address it, I have to do this. I have to change my diet. I have to do my supplements. I have to do this. I have to take my kid. Whatever it is, when you have to find a small enough bite that you can handle.
Yes.
Like you said, what can I control?
Correct.
And maybe that's just the next meal, or
literally
it's just cutting out dairy for a week, whatever it is. But it has to be something that you can handle, and that's where I think people go crazy because they don't figure out what it is that they know for sure they can do.
It's exactly what it is.
All at once, and and you can collapse if you do that.
No, it's true. It's very true, and it did make a difference for me because I feel like it had nothing to do with me being organized or structured or a planner before that. What I did was I took those qualities, things that I do every day, and I really broke it down, putting myself first. And I said to myself, this is what I'm going to do starting on X date. This is going to be it. This is what I am doing. And sure enough, it's been that way now, day 14, but I've been doing it for probably about a month now with everything else. There was no hustle. Like it was exciting for the kids to go back to school, especially my daughter being in a new school, just regular routine things and it passes on to them. Their schedules are now different with activities because it's a different season, so there's just little things that are going to happen anyway.
You've changed the momentum by figuring out what it is you can control and actually taking those steps.
Absolutely.
But I do want to get back a
Yes.
little bit to the challenges of losing weight when we
Hmm.
age. And we could add to that of feeling good and of, of being energetic and all of that. But there are some other problems when you get older that you don't have when you're younger.
Hmm.
First of all, there are social problems with your social life. Fortunately or unfortunately, listen, I celebrated Rosh Hashanah with my family.
Hmm.
Right. Now, when you celebrate a holiday with your family, what's going to be presented is the foods that everyone likes to eat, the traditional foods.
Hmm.
Whether or not those are good for you, whether or not they're poison for you, you could theoretically have something on your plate that's going to make you drop dead 5 minutes later. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
That's
matter.
the tradition.
Yeah.
So, and people who are trying to have a social life, who are going out with their friends, it's never okay. Let's as a couple, let's have two or three couples go for a run. It's always, let's go to eat. There's this great new restaurant. Let's go eat something, right? And
Easier.
again, when you're out and eating, that's what you want to do. You don't want to be burdened with the thoughts about,
Mhm.
oh, I can't do this. There's too many rules in your life anyway.
Yeah.
So is this something that you and John have found as a big challenge for you? And how are you going to address it going forward?
No, because I have to tell you, even on program, I mean, we've only well, this is so it's only 2 weeks now, but even previously, our success from the first one, we have no problem. Once we're feeling good, when it's our mindset. So once we're feeling good and doing these things, we won't turn down socializing with others, but we do it within the confines of what we can do. And that doesn't bother me. Like, I don't feel the peer pressure in that aspect when I'm on program because I'm so structured
I'm
about
not
it.
even talking about on program. I'm talking about on program is easy because
Yeah.
it's very binary, right? It's either this or that, right? You're either sticking to it or you're not.
You're not, yeah.
I'm talking about in regular life where the parameters are not that clear. So yeah, so how do you handle that? And again, it is a problem that has to do with age because the way you socialize changes with age. When you're
Oh,
younger, it could be okay. Hey, you call up some friends and you say, hey, let's play some pickup basketball. Like
yeah.
that's perfect,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So how do you handle that going forward? Not on
I
program.
mean, I think that because my mindset is different going into it this time, nothing but honesty. I mean, I wouldn't turn it down. I would absolutely make suggestions on doing other activities, other things for us to do.
So
But it's
your
not.
friend, so you get a call from a friend who you haven't seen in a while, and
Mhm.
she says, listen, Michael and I, we miss you. So let's get together. There's this great new restaurant, and let's go. And they have an amazing wine list.
Mhm.
Okay, what's the move? How do you handle it?
I would absolutely go.
And when you're out,
And when I'm
uh,
out, I would definitely make
good
smarter
time.
decisions.
Okay, do you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I do anyway. I mean, when we go out, there's even when we go out to dinner, I notice even with couples or us, like there's a lot of sharing and back and forth. We're indulging in very good food. We're not fast food people, so it's real food, I like to call it. And
Mhm.
we do enjoy it, but we're not the type to, at least myself, my husband and I, we're not like a bottle of wine each, multiple mixed drinks. It's like, oh, if I'm eating dinner, and there are people that are, and that's fine. But for that doesn't work for us. So if we're out to dinner, we're having wine, we're doing it to enhance our meal. So it's like a glass, maybe two glasses. That's really it. I
Right.
mean,
So you're doing pairings. You're doing pairings. The
yeah,
sommelier comes over, and he says, "Oh, with the coco van, this is going to go very well." And
exactly.
yeah,
I
okay.
wouldn't mind. I mean, and then during the day, I would definitely incorporate one thing I did not do post program before, and I do is incorporate coconut oil more. That fell on the wayside, and that made a huge difference for me in terms of even just detoxing after eating out or enjoying myself.
Well, some people may not understand that, right? Coconut oil. People think coconut oil. They think maybe saturated fat. Very, pardon me, very high in calories.
Hmm.
All fats are, and there is some truth to that. But what people may not know about coconut oil is that it has some special qualities. It's a
Hmm.
special kind of fat, and what it does is it actually helps with fat burning.
Yep.
There's a little controversy around that, but it's something that we recommend. And so you find that it helps you
Huge
take
help.
off,
I follow it 3 times a week. I do 2 tablespoons 3 times a week.
right?
And it really, it has made, doing it consistently has made a huge difference. Even things that I've prepped and just keep in the fridge, like my garlic, I roast my garlic in it just to like add to a meal or do something, even in little bits has made a huge difference.
Right. Understood. Understood. So, okay, so here's what we've gone over so far. If anyone is just tuning in right now, when we age, obviously there are many challenges, but the challenges are holistic. They're not just one thing or the other,
Right.
but any single one of them can really sabotage us and make it hard to lose weight. Obviously, first we're talking about the physical challenge, the slowing down of the metabolism because of the loss of muscle tone.
Mhm.
Uh, in addition, there are hormonal changes that often happen, especially with women. And these things, by the way, they're all known by science, right? You lose X amount of muscle every year, your metabolism goes down, such and such. It can be helped. And obviously, the solution to losing muscle tone is to exercise. But then we get into some of these other challenges, right? The time to exercise when you are carting your kids around all day, dealing with the PTA, working a job, handling like your house.
Mhm.
Everyone has different challenges, but there seem to be more these days than ever before.
Oh yeah. We just had this conversation this weekend. I don't know. I mean, thank God we work, but every parent I know, I mean, we make it work. But every single, not one has ever been like, oh, but it's not that bad. Not one person, not one parent disagrees with the fact that the sense of overwhelm, like how is this happening? Like, how is it that we're all enjoying each other's company, we're enjoying watching these games and meets, and it's wonderful and we love it, but we constantly point back like we didn't do this when we were kids. This is not like this.
Yeah, the parenting is different these days. Like it's not the okay, come home by dinner anymore. It's
No.
your right. It's you're driving the kids to swim and to
Dinner's
baseball.
4:30 or 9 o'clock. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like Nobu, right? If you want reservations, it's 4:30 or it's like
4:30 or 9
always.
o'clock. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So yeah, I think parenting has changed, just the
Yeah,
nature of parenting,
right.
and I don't know what the solution to that would be. I mean, maybe having kids take more responsibility earlier on, but that's certainly against the trend.
No, but you know what? I can't even. I listen. I can't even say it's a responsibility on the children as much as it is the adaptability to the new schedule. I think that I have one child that gets off the bus between 2:30 and 2:40 ish, right? The other one, if he gets off the bus, it's 4 o'clock. Now, a difference in an hour in the middle of the afternoon is tremendous. So much can be done in an hour at that point. It's rush time. So one doing homework, I have to pick up the other, come back. I'm finishing up doing what I have to do for work. And then it's like, okay, great. Pack up your laptop. Now we're going, splitting in 2 different directions. One activity, this one's practice the other. You're coming back. Now, nobody's home. So what about dinner? I have to prep dinner ahead of time. So everything's prepped. There's just so much that goes into planning a seamless day. Even though you're running, you're constantly chasing the clock.
Sure.
And to accomplish all that we do, I like one of our friends actually said it because he has 2 younger kids, so he's just not there yet in terms of crazy activities. And I said, I'm telling you now, it starts off small and it's like overnight, all of a sudden it's like, oh, throw away that T-ball. Now it's full on, full blown schedule.
Yeah.
And my husband said, he goes, we really do work well together. Like it has to be a plan. You can't just wing it. And I feel like there's a lot of families that we do know where it's like we were out this weekend. It was a tournament 2 days, and as much as they packed stuff, it was like junk food snacks for the kids, and then like okay, they ended up eating breakfast, lunch, and snacks in between at the fields, and then they were so tired from just sitting there all day that they stopped for McDonald's on the way home. Now
Well,
listen,
yeah, and this is another problem. So because there's more on
accessibility.
your plate, right? Pardon the pun.
Really?
There's much less time to plan and prepare for the healthy things that you want to do.
So we think, yes.
Yeah. So we think. I mean, but you have to have systems in place. I mean,
Exactly.
otherwise, you're gonna do the stopping off at the McDonald's. And by the way, places like McDonald's, they're probably engineering their food. So so kids go crazy for McDonald's. They'd rather have the McDonald's than the lobster at the great seafood
Something
place,
about it. Yeah, something about
right?
it. I know.
So they want it, and then they could start pestering you, and you're all exhausted. So
Yeah.
okay, yeah, you stop up, shove a burger in their mouth, shut them up.
And not even that, when if you think about what the time frame. So this one part of the tournament, and just not to bore anybody, but to be at 7:30 in the morning on Saturday. So at 7:30, so I packed a couple of things. We thought that the 2 hour break in between, we would leave and take them for like a nice like a brunch
Good
and
too.
get real food. So my husband and I, we actually didn't pack extra snacks for us or lunch, because now we're breaking out fast between, like, preferably a day like that, like 12 o'clock. So like, oh God, now it's jam packed. We're not leaving, and I'm saying, and the food was delicious. Everything was fresh there. It was a really beautiful facility, and I'm like, now nobody could leave because it's just so packed. You can't get in and out, whatever. So I said, all right, we're gonna have to eat here because now we're here till 5:30. So I was like, okay, what are we gonna do? So in a jam. So I literally went up to like, we ordered everything fresh. I ordered, my husband and I, 2 plain burgers, nothing on them, lettuce and tomatoes separately stacked. We just doubled the lettuce and
But
tomato.
where is this? The Little League?
Literally, no, it wasn't Little League, but it was in Jackson. It was a tournament in Jackson.
Okay, but still, you're going to be getting Little League quality food, which
It
is
was it was actually decent. It was not
okay.
bad.
So you
But
lucked out of that.
in a jam, now I'm like, here I am. I was so disappointed because in my mind, I'm like, oh, I should have just brought the hard. I always keep hard boiled eggs done in the house just in case. I said I should have just brought them with me. And I brought my fruit for the kids. I brought their healthy snacks and everything else, but not certain things that I can't have on program. So I'm like, okay, bear with me. I'm like, this is gonna be fine. And we ordered it, and it was fine. We were able to eat. We felt good. It was great. I had fruit there. It was like, oh my gosh, we made this work. And everyone's like, well, how did you do that? All this food, you didn't want the nachos? And I'm like,
But here's the thing, Jackie, and I want people to understand this, and I think they do understand it experientially, is that because of all this stuff that we're talking about, I think some people have it in their heads that nothing can be done about it.
correct.
And then you go into apathy.
Uh-huh.
Nothing can be done about it. Why am I going to even try? I don't want the discipline anyway. I have enough enforced discipline on me in my life, things that I have to do. Life becomes a big have to. And now I have to deal with this. No, screw it. I'm going to
Yeah.
take the extra weight. I'm going to deal with it. But that's not acceptable either, because
No.
the other thing that you're going to start to understand as
What?
you turn 40
What?
is that people that you went to high school with are going to begin getting sick.
Unfortunately,
People,
I know a
right,
couple already.
right. People could start dying, believe it or not. I mean, heart attacks are going to start.
Yes.
You go to a reunion and half the people there will look like they died 20 years ago. Like even the living are like it's the March of the Living Dead.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not acceptable either. So now
No.
we're in this, like, between a rock and a hard place. Uh, and I think if there's a message that we can deliver, is that something can always be done to improve.
Absolutely.
Don't
Absolutely.
listen to yourself when you're in that place saying that
No.
nothing can be done. Obviously, we can help. This
Of course.
help to some people is a four-letter word, right? Because they think they
A
should do
punishment.
it on their own,
Yeah.
right? But there's
Yes.
nothing wrong with hiring some help in order to get to where
No.
you want to be. The destination in that sense is more important. We have people, they'll wait years because they want to do it on their own, and then they'll come to this place where I need some help.
I need
Uh,
help.
it shouldn't be help
Primal.
should not be from a place of desperation.
Mm-hmm.
It should be a rational decision that you make,
Absolutely.
given the
Yeah.
factors of your life, right?
Absolutely.
So something can always be done about it. And Jackie, I think you're living proof of that right now, having lost
Yeah.
13 pounds in 14 days.
I know.
And
And like
everyone's noticing.
and what?
And everyone's noticing, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, I actually, a ton of people yesterday was even throughout the way, something different this time around for me where it hit, and I think it's a lot of it was mental too, where it wasn't like I was nervous about either one, it not working, but and in the past, like there's been a couple of ups and downs for me where it didn't work. But health wise, I was like, no, it just, my mindset was very different. I'm very open and very focused about it. There's not one thing. I'm not even concerned. I'm not even thinking about the program, to be quite honest with you. I am.
That's the place that we want people to get to, right? The place where they're not fighting it, just not thinking about it. It's just you do this and you do the rest of your life.
That's it.
That's it. And the results come.
And it really does feel, because you see the results so quickly and you feel good so quickly. I didn't have a terrible detox. I did not feel well, no headaches or anything like that. And
well, that happens sometimes, and that's okay.
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah.
But there was really nothing for me to do but just go about my business. So, and in terms of planning and prepping, I've made things so as if it wasn't easy enough before. I'm like, it's super easy, just very streamlined, and I'm just rolling with it.
Right. On this whole subject of a lot on your plate and, being overwhelmed and thinking that there's nothing that can be done to improve it, one thing that we'll have clients do sometimes, and it's a really valuable exercise if you actually do it, right? Thinking about it is not as effective as actually doing it, which is to very simply take a piece of paper, have 2 columns, write down on one column, all of your challenges, right? Whatever that is, I don't have enough time to eat good food. I don't have whatever that is, right?
Meal prepping.
The next column, right? The real problem. The next column, write down what could be done about it. Whether or not you think you can do it, or there's always something that can be done. And just in doing that, like, things start to occur to you, and if I teach my kids how to make their own lunch, now I'm freed up to exercise for 20 minutes or whatever it is. Like, there's always a solution, but sometimes when we get stuck, when we get into a rut, we're pretty sure that there's not one, and we stop seeing them. You ever been in that place?
I've been in that place before. I feel like where it's like, oh, I just can't do it this week, and I push it to the side. And when we were discussing, like, in terms of putting responsibility on children, I include my kids in everything that I'm doing. And that helps a lot also, because they see it, that they even ask me now. They're like, oh, Mom, what are you eating? So our dinner last night, the slight difference for it was a little different because we were at the, at the tournament when we got home. I grilled and marinated chicken and, oven baked chicken and whatnot, and made the same thing for the kids. They ate the same caramelized program approved onions. They had the same chicken that I had. The only difference is my daughter had fresh provolone on it, like a sandwich with like cucumbers and stuff. That was her version. I didn't have the bread. I just had the onions and the chicken.
Right.
But they see those changes. They see to me that they're asking questions.
Right.
And
that's one of the things that might occur to people while they're thinking about their problems, right? Yeah. So a common problem for moms especially, right? It could be for dads too, is, well, I have to cook for 5 different people and they all like different things. And yet, if I had $1 for everyone that said, that while they were on the program, that they influenced their kids and their spouses to eat better, and as a result, they were feeling better and they were enjoying the food and things like that, I'd have a lot more dollars.
Oh, it's that. And it's also one thing I just want to leave everybody with, though, too. And I'm coming from a mother's perspective with young children. Your health issue or your health concern or what you're not making a priority about your health is not just your problem.
Yeah, we say this until we're blue in the face sometimes, but I feel like some people just can't hear it.
Right.
It's the truest thing in the world, because and sometimes, sadly, it doesn't occur to people, until very late. Mm-hmm. But there's no doubt about it. Like, do it. Be selfish for them. Correct. It sounds like a contradiction, but it's not. You have to take care of yourself for other people. So I'm going to stop saying it because I feel like some people, they just can't hear it.
I know. They just don't. They don't get it, but it's true. And it at pivotal ages, right? So my daughter's a tween, coming on that age, and she's fully aware of how things look and what we do. And she's an athlete and she works out and what the results would be. She knows that she has to eat good to feel good. She knows when she doesn't eat good, she doesn't feel well. And it's a chain reaction. And she'll check on me. She'll ask, what's going on with me or what I'm feeling or how am I doing or what I eat today. And she's interested and engaged about it because they're aware. So just as if you were taking medication or you weren't feeling well, or you're quick to skip lunch because you had a Starbucks Frappuccino and you're full, they are going to notice even if they don't bring it to your attention.
Yes, and they do get concerned about it.
They
So,
do.
and it's noticeable enough.
They
And kids
internalize.
will be really honest sometimes, and they'll say things.
Sometimes.
What they may or may not say is that it's upsetting to them,
Correct.
right? But kids know how mommy's feeling.
Absolutely. They get it. They heard your heart first, so they get it. You know, they definitely in tune to that. And
It's
I
an
don't
interesting
want,
point of view.
it's true.
Yeah,
You know, and I really feel like conversations with my kids, every single thing that I say when it comes to things like this, it really is for the bigger picture.
yeah.
You know?
Lastly, last note is, and this has nothing to do with anything, but it's got to piss you off when your kids are sometimes smarter than you.
Oh my God. It does. And hello, I helped Ronnie with his math homework the other day, and he goes, Mom. I said, well, then why'd you ask me if you knew the right answer? That's what you get.
When they're giving you life advice and you know they're right.
Exactly.
Like these
They're teaching me every day, and they don't even know it.
The little ruggers.
Yeah.
All right, good. Well, that's a good point to end on. So let's end off here. We'll see everyone next week. Anything you'd like to say to people? Oh, no, we're not. Okay, programming note. I should have said this at the beginning. Yeah. So we're not going to be here next week. Next week is Yom Kippur. So I will not be here. You know this. I think I've explained this to you. Sandy Koufax did not pitch in the World Series on Yom Kippur. So Sandy Koufax could not pitch on the World Series. I am not going to be at work, and we're not.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly. You got it.
Take care.
So 2 weeks from now.
Yes.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.